I love long exposure photography. It's my favorite thing to do, and I do it all the time. And of course, my favorite conditions, as you know, are really bad weather, dramatic conditions, really dramatic skies, lots of clouds moving. But of course, the reality is you don't get those conditions very often. Very often you get conditions like today. So as you can see, I'm here on Mount Fuji this morning, and there is absolutely nothing in the sky. It's a really boring sky, blue one, nothing happening. Of course, Mount Fuji is beautiful, but there's a picture, this thing is really boring. So how do you shoot long exposures in a day like today? How do you make them interesting? Should you just give up? I don't think so. I think you can get nice images even in a day like today. So I'm gonna share a couple of tips and tricks that I use to do that. Alright, this is the back of my camera here. Hopefully you can see my screen. The first thing I want to talk about to use long exposures in a day like today is negative space, which in this case is gonna be the sky, which is the emptiest part of my frame. So how do you use that to our advantage? You can do many things. As you can see here right now, Mount Fuji, which is my main subject, is in the middle of the frame. For me, it's not really interesting. I mean, it's fine, compositionally speaking, but it's not very interesting. So one thing that I can do is increase the amount of negative space, which is in this case the sky. So what I can do, I can tilt my camera up and leave more sky at the top and keep less water. Let me try and frame this up a little bit better. Yeah, so something like this, and already you can see that having more sky here in the frame makes the composition more minimal, and in my opinion also makes Mount Fuji stand out a little bit more than if it was in the middle of the frame, because of course you cannot see the beach in the foreground. So tip number 2, another thing that you can do to improve long exposures in a day like this is do the exact opposite thing as I just mentioned. So right now we have our negative space at the top of the frame, Mount Fuji and some water. But as you can see, if I tilt my camera down, I can get rid of all the negative space. Let me frame it a little bit better. And then as you can see here at the bottom, you can't see it. Now you can see it. And then as you can see here at the bottom, in this foreground there is some sand and some water, which is also pretty interesting. So I can use that as a foreground element to complement the main subject, which is Mount Fuji, and also leave a little bit of the sky. And of course it's a little bit cluttered now, so I can just zoom in a little bit and reframe it slightly. Like so. And as you can see now, I have a little bit of the foreground here with some water and some sand. I have the water here moving, and I have Mount Fuji at the top. And the part that is not moving, which is the sky, is just a little bit at the top, so it doesn't affect the image so much. And of course, if it's a long exposure, you want the moving elements in your frame to be prominent. So another important tip that you can use to improve your long exposures on a cloudless day like this is related to your color profile. So let me change this color profile to monochrome here. And this is the standard monochrome picture control, or my Nikko D850. And as you can see, it looks fine. It kind of looks like a basic black and white conversion that you would do in Photoshop. The sky is kind of dark, but it's still not so interesting. And there is a really easy way to make the sky more interesting, which comes from the film days. So if I go here in my picture control, and I go to my monochrome and I go on the right side, I have options, and the option I'm looking for is the filters. So I can use colored filters over my black and white conversion. And in a scene like this, where the sky is really blue, the best way to enhance that is by using a red filter. So I'm gonna go on the right, and as you can see, I'm changing this. You can see the image is changing. This is a yellow filter, this is an orange filter, red filter, and green filter. And as you can see, the red filter is the one that makes the scene more interesting and the sky much darker. So I'm gonna select that. And as you can see, just by doing that, I'm creating a really natural gradient here in the sky that brings my attention from the top part of the image, from our negative space, down to our main subject, which is Mount Fuji. And I think this is a really simple and powerful way to enhance your long exposure photography in a day like this. And of course, if you're using Photoshop or Lightroom, when you import your images, you're gonna get the same color profile that you have in camera. If you're using a Nikon, if you're using a Canon, if you're using a Fujifilm or a Sony camera. So that's gonna be really easy to get the same results that you see in your display here, to get the same results in your Photoshop or Lightroom panel. Alright, so now it's time to put those tips and tricks into use. So I'm gonna try and make one composition with a lot of sky in the top to have a lot of negative space. Then I'm gonna try another exposure including elements from the foreground here, if I can find anything interesting. And of course, I'm gonna try everything with a normal black and white profile and with the one with a red filter. And then I'm gonna put all the images after this section so you can see all of them, you can compare them, and you can let me know which one do you prefer. So let's do it. Alright, that's gonna be it for today's video. A short one, but hopefully an interesting and useful one. Let me know in the comments below if you found it useful. And of course, if you did, remember to give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.